On this episode, my guest shares how one impromptu party in the woods became her permanent home, a sacred land that would spark a new career in holding festivals and events for thousands to enjoy.
It's special for so many reasons. It's where I met my husband. I was invited to a party there in the woods in 2001 or 2002 by our mutual friend. And there was a group of people I'd never met before, and we've all gone on to become really good friends for the rest of our, since then, for the rest of our lives. And you could feel then that there was something magic about the woods. So it was to do with the ley lines and to do with the energy. It was just a beautiful, beautiful place, and it's beautiful all year round.
My next guest is Diana Dugdale, an event organiser and DJ who has been instrumental in helping to oversee and curate many well-loved festivals over the past 2 decades. On the land she calls home at Wasing Estate in Berkshire, she and her husband Josh have helped inspire with the likes of Glade, Summer Sunset, Waysinger and The Mount. More recently, they brought Medicine Festival to their woods, which attracts some of the world's most prolific speakers and leaders in the fields of science, art, medicine and music. The profits of which go towards helping empower Indigenous peoples to preserve and protect their land, traditions and wisdom. Next up is a literary festival aptly named Well Read. The lineup has many well-loved authors and speakers coming to Wasing for 2 days over the Maybank holiday. Diana, or as you prefer to be called, Di, a very warm welcome to these 3 things. Thank you so much for saying yes to being a guest. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Deb. And thank you so much for asking me. It's a real honour to be on this brilliant podcast. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for saying yes. Where are you recording from this morning?
I'm actually recording from Wasing. Yes, I'm at home in the kitchen. The sun is shining, so I've had to pull the blind down. So yeah, it's a beautiful day here and it's all looking glorious. Spring has truly sprung. It really has. It's looking lovely at the moment.
It's all in bloom. Gorgeous. Well, I have actually visited your land. I came to Medicine Festival for myself with my daughter last year, but obviously we're entering into the festival season now. And so busy preparing for Well Read?
Yes, busy preparing for Well Read and for Solstice. The woods are kind of left to sleep over the winter, and then around beginning of May time, we start putting all the structures up. So we've got the yurts and we've got the stretch tents, and all the gardeners get down there and all the grass is looking beautiful and we have bulbs growing up. And yeah, so it sort of wakes up around about this time and then goes back to sleep in October.
Oh, that's a lovely way of putting it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really looking forward to hearing more about Well Read. I know that I can tell by your Instagram feed actually that you are a voracious and avid reader. Who are you most looking forward to hearing speak at that event?
Oh, well, what's been so wonderful about putting this on is being able to approach our favourite authors. And we've got Jay Griffiths, who wrote a brilliant book called Wild, which I highly recommend. And her new book, which comes out just before, is called How Animals Heal Us. And we have local author Lucy Jones, who's written a brilliant book called Matrescence, all about the 4th sort of trimester, as it were, of childhood, so after the baby's born, and motherhood. And she's written an incredible book called Losing Eden as well. And it fits in very well with the theme of Well Read, which is ecology, the land, the well-being of us, our children, food, nutrition. We've got Lucinda Miller, who set up Nature Doc, who is an incredible naturopath. And then we have Melissa Hemsley and Hugh Fernie-Whittingstall. Obviously, you're both talking about food and nutrition. Hugh is focusing on his talk about whether we should be eating fish and the state of the rivers. Yeah, and he's being joined by Jim Murray.
Oh, I know Jim. Yes.
Yes, he's an actor and activist. And then actually Hugh's wife, Marie de Rome, is a child psychologist. So she's in talks with Lucy Jones as well. Lucy is speaking a couple of times. And Claire Balding. We thought it'd be really good to get a local. Yeah, she grew up locally, so she's just a hop, skip, and a jump from where she grew up in Kingsclear. So we're just down the road from there, and we're an hour from London. We're very well positioned here, and it's really worked in our favour for all the festivals and events that we put on. We're 40 minutes from Heathrow, and we're just under an hour from West London. But if you're coming in from Wales or Bristol, we're just off the M4. So it's a sort of little oasis, sort of in the middle of Basingstoke, Newbury and Reading.
Well, I know like I said, I've been to the woods before, and I know that you and your husband, Josh, hold and support such incredible causes, whether it's local or more sort of world stage. And I wish you all the best for Well Read. I think it's going to be a very hot family ticket and something for all the children, well, the whole family.
Yes. So we have a brilliant company called Mud and Guts, and they come and they're doing 3-hour slots where they take the children off. The parents can go and listen to the talks, or they can go and do a sauna and a swim, or we've got sweat lodges as well. So it's a sort of well-being and literature festivals combined. And they take them off to do bushcraft and animal tracking and wood whittling, and just really lovely to know the children are having a really magical time while the parents can have a little bit of time off, as it were, and go and listen to the talks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, at the end of half term, but also indulge themselves with just buying some really lovely books that will obviously all be there on display.
Yes. Well, we've got a wonderful yurt, which is often used for yoga or breathwork. Rebecca Dennis is coming to do breathwork as well, which is wonderful to start the festival off. That's being turned into a bookshop. So the Hungerford Bookshop, who we're doing it in coordination with, who is just beautiful independent bookshop in Hungerford, funnily enough. And Emma curates that bookshop with such kind of elegance and taste, and it's just beautiful, and a lot of books about nature and well-being and forestry and the rivers and all and everything in between, ecology basically. And so so that's where the authors will go up and sign the books after. So they'll be selling the books that they are there to talk about, and also their kind of historical books as well. So there'll be a good combination of books and some lovely stalls as well. So we're really excited.
Oh, well, here's to Well Read. I'm really excited about it. Congratulations. I have to get stuck in now. I have to ask you, as you know, with these 3 things, I ask the question, which one person, place and treasured possession have profoundly impacted your life? So why don't we start with the person? Who have you chosen and why?
So this is a really tricky one, and I think it's probably a tricky one for everyone, because there are family members, husbands, siblings who've all had a huge effect on our lives, or grandparents or anything. But the person I've decided to go with is someone who really did have a major effect on my life and still does. She's one of my closest friends, and she's called Madeline Sanderson.
Right.
We met back in 2002 because my brilliant sister Kate, was working with her, and I wasn't quite sure what I was doing at the time. I was temping and doing different jobs and a little bit lost, but happy, but a little bit lost about what I was going to do. And I met Madeline, and it was like a kind of thunderbolt. I was like, who is this woman? She is extraordinary. She's running this company. She ran a brilliant production company called Partisan, which is French-owned. There's a director called Michel Gondry, and his producer, George Berman, set up the company. And Madeline was called in to kind of pull it all together, because it was all going a bit crazy in the 90s, and they needed someone to kind of take the helm. So that's what Madeline did. And she found my sister, who was working there as the director's rep. So it's a production company making TV commercials, music videos and films and documentaries. And then she introduced me to my first boss called Mark Stothard at another production company. And I looked after directors like Tom Hooper, who went on to win a few Oscars, and various other directors. And that was a really perfect kind of stepping stone for me. And she was a kind of mentor, and I would go to her for advice. And then a couple of other companies wanted to poach me from where I was, and I went to her and she said, come and work with me. And I was like, it has always been my dream to work at Partisan, and I was always in awe of my sister doing what she did there. And then we worked side by side for about 10 years. We literally sat next to each other, and I spoke to her about this yesterday, and she said it was actually a beautifully symbiotic relationship between the two of us. We worked together so well, but she really is just the most extraordinary producer, and she brought up 3 beautiful children. She ran these companies. She did it all on her own. No one was helping her. She's just got such fire in her belly for everything, and she's still producing incredible films now. And she's godmother to our youngest, Obi. And I would go to her for advice on anything, and I know that I could call on her for anything as she could call on me. So she's a very, very, very special human being, and I'm very lucky that she's been in my life.
Extraordinary force, like you said, the stress of running advertising and marketing and budgets and people and egos in the room. And then, creating creating fantastic work and raising 3 children by herself, all in London?
All in London, yeah. I was always in awe of how she worked the property as well. She'd start off with a sort of 1-bedroom flat and worked her way up and bought some incredible houses that she then sold on. And she's going back to what you're saying with the egos. I mean, it was a very male-driven world, that, and a lot of them were brilliant. But Mads, she really stuck out because her moral compass is in such a fixed, firm, good position. We really looked after everyone that were on the books, all the directors, and it was. But above all of that, it was a really fun place to work. It was a really fun place to work. No one ever wanted to leave. It was so hard leaving, but I was pregnant and I had another project to work on.
Motherhood.
Yeah, motherhood, exactly.
What did Madeleine, when you reflect back to those 10 years of working side by side, what did she teach you about yourself in that time, do you think?
She taught me to be tolerant and to stick by my guns and to not be walked over. The job that we had was, it was like it's equivalent of a director's agent. And she gave me the confidence to go out there. I was looking after good directors that she'd originally found and had been at Partisan. And she just, tolerance, patience, and just, and I've always had this with friends in my life, but that laughter is the most important thing. Keeping a sense of humour, not taking things too seriously. I've got many stories that we don't have time for here, but at the end of the day, it was like, we're not doctors and nurses. We're not saving lives. We're making adverts. Let's not take it too seriously, but let's get the job done and get it done well and make sure we produce the best of the best.
What an incredible woman. And I bet she's been recognised rightly for her and awarded in the industry.
Yes, I mean, everyone knows who she is because Partisan was such a big production company, and she's gone on, and her latest film, In the Shadows, is a brilliant film about Ramla Ali, the Somalian boxer. She's been attached to a lot of extraordinary films and much more human stories now, because adverts, there's only... she did adverts for a long time. It's now stories with subjects that she's passionate about, often with a female lead.
Have you ever seen Madeleine, when she was in work mode, really lose it? Has she had to come up against some, difficult characters, male or female, and or has she always remained sort of that calm driving force?
The only time that I ever saw her getting upset was if another fellow production company would come and try and poach one of our brilliant directors. And, it's a dog-eat-dog world, of advertising. And
yes.
This is a long time ago. It's changed so much with how people watch adverts. And, it's a very different game now that I have no kind of knowledge of how it's run, really. But in those days, it was deeply... It wasn't anger, it was just real upset that people who you thought were your friends within the industry were willing to go behind your back and try and poach one of your best directors. That was just really upsetting and really hard, but it was just like, do you know what? Onwards and upwards, we can just find and mould new brilliant directors. But most directors were completely loyal, so that was good, yeah.
And does she know that you've chosen her? Does she know that A, you're coming onto this podcast, or B, that you were, approached to come on as a guest, and then that you chose her of everyone that you could have picked?
With everyone I could have picked. So it's interesting. I wanted it to be a surprise, and then I thought, do you know what? Because you're putting pictures of Madeleine, I thought I am actually going to tell her, and we had a very sweet conversation about it, and it just confirmed my decision that she was my person. So yeah, I think she was quite pleased to know that how important she is to me. Yes,
flattered and honoured.
She knows it.
Yes.
She knows it anyway. But yeah, it was really lovely to be able to pick
sounds
her.
like a really special woman, and to be the longevity of being able to stay in this industry as well, with everything that with the changes in technology and the changes in how we work. And she survived it. So she's a true she sounds like a force to be reckoned with.
She's a total force. I mean, she had a brain tumour that was removed. She had that. Yeah, she had that. But that she sort of got through that with such kind of, it was amazing. It was amazing because that was obviously a real worry. And she really sticks two thumbs up to the whole kind of, she's aged so gracefully and so beautifully and still dresses like a sort of teenage boy. And I love that because I also look at her and think age is literally a number,
Yeah.
She's still got, still having that fire in the belly and the passion and excitement for new things. And we recently went on a trip to Brazil and we had the bird app, Merlin app open. And she was like a child. She was like, quick, let's listen to all the birds. And there's still that kind of lust for life that will be with her until the very end. And it's just a joy just to be walking alongside her.
I love that you've chosen her because I think you're right. When we first start on our professional path in our 20s, we're sort of figuring out for so much of it, aren't you? Do I belong here? Do I belong there? What do I want to do with my life? And what more importantly wakes me up and impassions me to give my time to that job and that industry. And when a mentor walks through the door and lights you up like that, they stay with you, for good or for bad, forever. And when you find someone like Mads, and you can then create a friendship that is separate to your professional life, it's a very rare, like you said, synergy, isn't it? It very rarely happens. And when it does, you aspire to be like them, and you also aspire to take the same teachings further down the line for the people that you then go on to mentor. So it sounds like she's had that really profound impact upon your life. And I really hope she does get to listen to this and know just how strongly she directed the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Oh, she'll be listening. I'll make sure of it.
Oh, good. Good. So to Madeline Sanderson in London, an extraordinary film producer and force to be reckoned with. Lovely. Ty, let's go on to your place. Okay, so the next question I ask my guests is, there are so many places that we visit in our lives, but where is that special somewhere that you return to that, again, lights your soul up, but also really reminds you that you belong? Where is it?
So it has to be the woods here at Wasing, the ancient woodland. Just for listeners, Wasing it's in Aldermaston between Reading and Newbury, so not too far from London. It's special for so many reasons. It's where I met my husband. I was invited to a party there in the woods in 2001 or 2002 by our mutual friend, and turned up, and there was a group of people I'd never met before, and we've all gone on to become really good friends for the rest of our, since then, for the rest of our lives. And you could feel then that there was something magic about the woods. So it was to do with the ley lines and to do with the energy. It was just a beautiful, beautiful place, and it's beautiful all year round. And then we would go back for parties there. We went to, Summer Sunset, which was the first festival that Josh and our friend Al and a few others set up, which was brilliant. And then it turned into the Glade. So the Glade was brought to the woods, the Glade, which is the dance part of Glastonbury, and it was bought by Anselm Guys and Nick Ladd and various others to be a standalone festival here. And so that was here for 5 years, I think. I still wasn't together with Josh at this point, and then met him again in the woods at another party in 2008. And we were married in 2010. So and lots of friends have met there and got together there. Friends have got engaged there. Friends have got married here. Oh, they've had their children's christenings here. So what I love about it so much is it's not just my special place. It's so many people's special place, and they come back again and again. And then, as you mentioned, Medicine Festival.
Yes.
Josh and his best friend, Ben Christie, it was their kind of seed that's then grown. And there's an incredible committee of like 6 of them who pull in just the most incredible people, speakers, singers, therapists, all sorts of people from all over the world. There were 28 countries represented at the last Medicine Festival. So it's amazing.
Yes, tell me about Wazinger, because I had heard about this and I thought I want something to take my daughter to, but not a commercial festival, a smaller festival that's really honouring, as you said, the land, the ecology and what's happening on planet Earth right now. And friends of mine had talked about Wazinger and said, this is the perfect one. Are they on every year?
It was on every year until last year. We decided to, because doing it and then Medicine straight after, it's a lot of work. So what we decided to do is it's a lot, and do Wazinger every other year, because people who come always want to come, but it's that thing with the summer holidays. so many different things going on. We thought give people the opportunity that they don't feel the pressure to come every year, even though I think they would like to. What's so magical about Wisinga is that, yes, it is, you pay your ticket, which is just under £200, and then everything is provided over the week. You don't have to bring a phone, keys, wallet, anything. Within the tribe, once you've joined Wisinga, you become part of our lovely little tribe, and there's an initiation ceremony at the beginning, which the children are heavily involved in. Everyone has to do 5 hours in the kitchen. There's no hierarchy, so whether people are coming to give talks or hold sessions, you all still pay a ticket. And actually under £200 for a week is it's still a lot of money for a lot of people, of course it is, but everything's covered. Your food is covered, the yoga, the swimming. We've deliberately kept it low so that everyone who wants to come can afford to come. And if there's someone who really wants to come who can't, then we'll suggest to other people, are you happy to pay a little bit extra? So it all balances out. And it was off the back of, Josh came up with the idea years ago, and before it even had a name. He wanted somewhere that people could gather. He was a Burning Man visitor. He'd been quite a few times with Ben, who he set up medicine with. And it was on that whole ethos of, you pay your ticket, and then when you get there, everything's provided. And people really go for it. And we have an open mic night that's hosted by Chris Fitchu, who's, I believe, has been on this podcast.
He's been on this podcast, yes in series 1. Hilarious Chris Fitchu. We love him. He
is one in a million, and he is heavily involved in a lot of the events that we do here in the woods. He's part of medicine. He has his own little festival called Wonderment. And he helps host Solstice. We also have a lovely event in the woods called Solstice, which is over the 21st of June with extraordinary musicians from all over the world. We've got Anushka Shankar and James Blake playing on his piano, and The Egg, and oh my goodness, an amazing lineup. But yes, so the place is the woods. Yeah. They are just beautiful with a stream running through and beautiful lakes. We do wild swimming, and we have a sauna at the lake that's just up from, it's still within the woods, but just up from the woodlands where the parties are. So yeah, it's a really wonderful, beautiful glade, and next to it is a sacred glade with a beautiful portal in the middle of it, and we have some amazing shrines all dotted around as well. So it's just, you feel totally at peace when you're down there. And now with all the bluebells out, it's extra special.
Yeah, I can vouch actually to the listener, having, like I said, I came to medicine last year, which I absolutely loved and can really recommend for people to come next year. But I remember going through the woods quite late at night, and I'd watched this extraordinary concert with Danit, and then just wandered from sort of corner to corner with these huge trees towering over, all beautifully lit, and everyone just so happy, a really, like you said, there's no alcohol at this festival. So what's brilliant is that you don't have that usual really rowdy, quite dangerous, quite frenetic energy. It was just so chilled and lovely. And then I stumbled on a really lovely tent late at night, and you were DJing. And you were playing your set, and I remember going in thinking, oh gosh, this is, and I remember as I approached you, I was thinking, I have actually heard Di's music live, and a lot of fun was had in that night in that tent. Do you love playing at your own festivals?
Oh yes, I absolutely love it, and I always do it in combination with Chris Fitchu, who does a brilliant cabaret, and then what's brilliant is that he gets the crowd completely revved up, totally overexcited, that you could play anything and they'd be happy. But it's really joyful to get up on the stage and just play really fun music, really fun music, because people, they like the combination of the beautiful medicine music, but then sometimes you just want to go and have a really good dance as well. And so it brings me a lot of joy playing in the woods here. And we have sort of the regulars that come and play as well. So it's a lovely big family, basically.
It's a big family.
It's a big family. Yeah, it's great.
When I know it obviously, but for the listener, you've got these stunning woods and also this huge lake where you said the sauna has been built. Do you swim all year round in this lake?
Yes, we do. It's better in the winter than in the summer.
Wow, really?
And we were just down there yesterday talking about how lovely it is when we break the ice So we have various sauna attendants and a swim club. So you always have someone with you who's first aid trained, and you get teas and hot chocolates and whatever else you want when you're down there. And we swim all year round. It's the swim club's open 5 mornings a week, and we have 3 saunas a week. And people can do private hires as well. So we have lots of people taking it for birthdays or for hen days or hen weekends. Corporates love it, and brides love it as well. Brides and their family will come and either have a post-wedding swim or a pre-wedding swim just to kind of ground them. The sauna is a wood-burning sauna, so that's really it's just a brilliant addition, because we used to just do the swimming and leg it home and jump in the shower.
Yeah.
But now we've got the sauna, and we've got a cold shower down there as well with fresh water. And there's a triple SI actually, which is worth mentioning, which means it's a scene of scientific interest, because there is a rare golden dragonfly that has to be protected. Yeah.
Really?
And it means
on the lake?
that on the lakes, yes. It's all over. It's the triple SI kind of spreads all around where the lakes are, and it means that no one's allowed to wear any kind of creams or anything like that in the lake. No sun creams. It's also a flowing lake. It comes down from the top lake, which comes from the Emborn, and then it flows down into the ice pond, which then flows off into the Kennet. And because of that, the water it's not stagnant, and it's as clean as can be because it's tested once a month. So it's about as fresher and cleaner wild swimming as possible, because obviously with the state of the rivers, which is so depressing, and they're going to be talking about that a lot at Well Read, Jim and Hugh Fanny Whittingstall and Caroline Bennett from Soul of Discretion, which is a brilliant fish company.
So the golden dragonfly.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Magical Wazing Woods. To all who who know it, can vouch how special it is. And for listeners who've never been to this beautiful estate in Berkshire, Wazing Estate, find yourself there, be it for Solstice or Well Read or another festival coming up in the years to come. Okay, Di, I am now going to ask you about the treasured possession. So was this an easy choice? How easy was it for you to choose your one item?
It wasn't very easy. There were so many different things I could have chosen. My dog was high on the list, actually. But I suddenly realised I don't think that's an object, so I went round in circles, and once I'd made the decision, it was actually obvious that it had to be this one. And it is a portrait by my father, who's a portrait painter, and he very sadly died about 4 years ago. And he painted, we've got various paintings here by him, obviously. And Josh's mum was also a painter, so we're very lucky. We have the walls covered in art from both of our parents. But this one in particular is a portrait that he painted of me when I was about 4 years old. And I remember it being painted so clearly, having my hair brushed, which I was furious about before each sitting. But he's a very traditional painter. He trained under Stanley Spencer and Augustus John at the Slade. And he then became a Franciscan monk and sold all of his worldly goods and everything, and was a monk for about 2 years, realised he didn't have a vocation and came out, but had nothing, was completely penniless, and had to have a doctor's appointment. And he couldn't pay the doctor, but he said, I can't pay you in money, but I could paint your portrait, which he did. And off the back of that, he had a really illustrious career, painting consistently until, funnily enough, the last portrait he painted was of my mother-in-law, which is very precious to us as well, which is another really, really precious item. And that's when he was, I think, 89, 90.
Wow. And
his sight was going. But he worked non-stop. He barely went on holiday. He literally worked solidly. And he has a hexagonal studio at home where we grew up, because he would only work by natural light. He would never work by electricity, and he would never work for photos unless it was a posthumous portrait, which he did do a couple of times. So I remember very clearly in the studio, and he and my mum were a brilliant team, because she would talk to the sitters, the subjects, while he could focus on the painting, because it's really intense having your portrait painted, and I believe painting a portrait is pretty intense as well. So it was really good having Mum there to help support him with everything that he was doing.
So you were 4 years of age and, like you said, probably dressed to perfection with your hair brushed. And where is this painting now? Do you keep it on the walls at Wasing in your family home?
We've got it here in the dining room so that we can, I see it sort of every day. But for a long time it stayed in Dad's studio, and my parents moved and my brother moved in and it was there. And about 5 years ago I said, can I have it? And they said, of course. So it came here and is now hanging up. But yeah, it's a lovely thing to have.
We must show the listener what it looks like. So perhaps we'll put some photographs up on Instagram so we can see his work. And I have to ask, what is your father's full name, the artist's full name, please?
His full name was John Redvers.
Did he get to paint any of the royal family or anyone else in terms of, has he done some interesting sittings with people that we may know?
Yeah, he's had all sorts of interesting sitters, and his rule was always that everyone had to come to us because they had to be in the studio. Okay. And it was only for very, very special people or busy people that he would go to them. But not that long after the painting of the Doctor, he was commissioned by the Thai royal family, and he travelled with them for 2 years and painted all the members of the Thai royal family. And their court as well. And so when I was in Bangkok a few years ago, I went to a friend's house and opened the door and I was like, I know who painted that. And that was one of his many portraits.
Really?
Yeah. And he did a lot of military figures. He did the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Dean of St. Paul's, quite a lot of religious figures. And he did Cecil Parkinson, the MP, and a lot of the aristocracy. That he was very popular, not just the British, but the German and French. And he did some Rothschilds, and yeah, he had lots of interesting sitters. And also it's a bit like, I think in a way it's a bit like being a therapist. The people would open up and tell them things that you'd say, I don't think they should have told me that. There was one sitter who didn't realise that my mother spoke fluent German and was talking to her. I love her on the phone, and she spoke to her back in German, and she was like, "Oh." So yeah, they've got lots of funny stories. They've got lots of funny stories about people that came to sit for them. But yes, he never did any marketing. He never had any PR. It was all just word of mouth, which is amazing. Yeah.
John Redvers. And what happened to his brushes and his palettes? Have you kept those?
Well, it's funny you should ask that. So we split them between my sister and I think my brother's probably got some as well, because my youngest is showing signs of really enjoying painting. But what's so brilliant and it's just magic is that my sister has picked the brushes up, and it turns out she's an incredible artist. When people used to say to us, "Oh, have any of you inherited your father's skill?" We'd be like, "No, I mean, we can draw a bit, but not really." Anyway, turns out Kate really can paint. So she's been doing these wonderful paintings with flowers with all of his brushes, because he worked in oil and pastel and pencil and charcoal. He sort of covered most of and acrylic actually, but not so much. Yeah. But yes, she's inherited his talent, which is just brilliant, really brilliant.
How extraordinary. Well, this has been so lovely, Di. I'm so grateful you said yes to Madeline Sanderson, that brilliant first mentor and boss that you had, the film producer Madeline Sanderson, to the woods at Wasing Estate in Berkshire, and all the best for Well Read later this month.
Thank you.
And to your brilliantly talented dad, John Redvers, and the portrait that he painted of you as a 4-year-old girl. I'm really looking forward to posting that on our Instagram page so our listeners can see his work. I hope you've enjoyed being a guest. We've loved having you on.
I have. Thank you so much, Deb. It's been a real honour. Thank you very, very much. And lovely to speak about those places, peoples and things.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of These Three Things. If you have particularly enjoyed this conversation, please do share it with a friend. Press subscribe or follow on your preferred platform. And if you have an extra minute, a comment or review is greatly appreciated. We release episodes every fortnight, so until next time, thank you and goodbye.